Hey guys, welcome back to Mindset Managed. Today's topic is how therapy changed my life. And I say that broadly because I know that when people say change your life, that it's so dramatic, you're like, oh, really? But it did change my life because it set up a set of like a snowball, I suppose, of how I've become who I am today and who I see myself being later in life. So long story short, I've been for therapy four times, I think. 3 times properly, but once as well, like for a tester. So 4 times. And this is from when I was 16 up to when I was 21. And it was at different stages, different life events happened that led to deep depression. And I already had anxiety. And I already had sleeping problems and food problems. And so, yeah, therapy. And it helped me so much. I enjoyed every therapist that I had. I'm very lucky for that, I know. And yes, I know that in the UK it's free, but of course it is very limited and it's hard to get. So I do understand that, but I also want you to listen to this video with an open mind and realise that therapy, no matter where you are in the world, if it's something that you can get, then you should, because it is really helpful for these reasons. First reason that therapy changed my life, how it was so great for me, is because it helped with self-awareness and understanding. So imagine you're me at 16 and you have anxiety, you have depression, you're not sure who you are and what's going on. You think that you're broken, basically, because you don't hear those words at school, do you? You don't know what it means. So for a doctor then to sit down and say you have social anxiety and you're suffering from depression right now, then suddenly, well, at first you're like, what? But suddenly you're like, okay, yes, I know something about myself. I recognise the traits and the symptoms that you're explaining to me, and that's totally what I do. So what, this is normal? People do this? Like, I'm not alone? Great. And the whole I'm not alone thing, I know it doesn't feel that great, but it does help when you can be in your head so much and feel like there's something so specifically wrong with you. But instead, when you know that it's not just you, it's an illness, it's a real thing, it can feel like a weight has been lifted. It helped me to know my triggers and know the warning signs, to know symptoms and the things that are to look out for, basically. So that helped me with self-awareness in other areas of my life, because the therapist helped me to recognize when I'm doing certain things. So like the words that they use is like mind reading, catastrophizing, black and white thinking. I can't think of many more right now, but those kinds of words are like phrases for things that we do when you have anxiety or things that you do when you have depression. And I now recognize those in myself to help myself to stop doing it. And secondly, it's just something that I can use in every area of my life, like I say, and that helps me to be more self-aware, which is what I always talk about in my videos as being so important for any life change or any self-knowledge. And it helped me to understand my disorder. First, if you understand it, then you can accept it, because when you're in something for so long and you don't know what it is, you don't know how to handle it, you don't know what to look out for, then it can feel like you're drowning, like there's something really deeply wrong, and you're obviously going to fight it, you're going to keep rejecting it. But I think that the best thing that I did was accepting it, to stop fighting and say, okay, I have anxiety, it's something I'm probably going to live with forever, but that doesn't mean that it can stop me forever from living a great life. Like, I've done many things despite my anxiety, and so that only happened because I accepted it rather than fighting it, and that was something that therapy helped me to do. The next thing that it helped me with was perspective, because she told me about this thing called helicopter view. So when you're in a problem, or you're feeling anxious about something, or you're feeling really low about something, then what you need to do is to zoom out, to get the helicopter view on that situation, to realise what is the bigger picture, what's actually going on rather than what I think is going on. Is it my anxiety making me think that there's something that's dangerous there, or is there actually something that needs to be tackled? Because if you look at it from there, then you can be like, okay, so that's the problem and I can fix it, or oh, okay, there's not actually a problem here and I could think about this differently. And of course that sounds so overly simplistic, and it's took a lot of time, a lot of years to get better at that, but that helped me to go back into my own life like now and look at things from a bigger perspective, to rather than zoom in and be like, oh god, this is so awful, to zoom out and be like, oh, actually it's not that bad, I can breathe, it's okay, I got this. We need to understand when we have anxiety or depression or anything that you might go to therapy for, that our perspective of the world, our perception of the world and our lives and ourselves can be tainted by the disorder, can be tainted by the illness. And so imagine, like, okay, let's talk in like filter terms. So like you've got an Instagram picture that's so beautiful, but then you put on the filter of black and white, and suddenly it's, you know, it's dark, it's dismal, it's grey, right? That is what a disorder is like. That's what a mental health disorder is like. When you go out into the world, it might be this beautiful picture, but what you see is through the filter of your illness. So it's not an accurate perception of life, of the world, or yourself. And having that perspective helped me to be able to, not perfectly, I admit it's not perfect, but to be able to say, okay, so that's my anxiety talking, and this is what might actually be real, or at least this is what I hope and believe to be real, right? So that's something that you can fix through perspective. It helped me to gain perspective through doing things like journaling. So I wouldn't have probably journaled like I do today if I hadn't started doing it in therapy. Like, you get told to keep a thought diary. You get told to do negative thought challenging, negative automatic thoughts, I think it's called, challenging, and that's in CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy. Basically, you get a thought down on paper, you can rate how you emotionally feel about it in a percentage, and then you tear it apart basically and decide that it's not real. You think of a new thought, you give evidence to a new thought, and then you try and believe in that thought instead. So negative thought challenging is something that's very important for perspective, and it's something that I kind of use today without even realising that I'm still doing it. And of course, the next thing that therapy helped me to do is to question my thoughts. So like I say, with the thought challenging, is to say, like, okay, so this thought's popped up into my head, but is it something that I need to give energy to? Is it something that's real and true for me right now? Is it something that's coming from a place of anxiety or a place of depression or a place of low mood? Or is it something that's actually legit, that actually needs my attention? Therapy helped me to first do this, to realise that there are thoughts that you need to question, and there are also thoughts that you need to just let go. Because I think that the mindfulness, like meditation app said this, is that thoughts are like passing clouds. We have so many thoughts a day. Like, I think it's in the tens of thousands of thoughts that we have a day. If we thought about every thought that we think, then we would just go mad, right? So there are some thoughts that you need to question and give energy to. There are some thoughts that you just need to let go, and there are some thoughts that are real and legit and need to actually be, you know, listened to. So you need to get good at being the government in that and deciding, okay, this needs my energy, this doesn't, that does, whatever, all different kinds of things. And that therapy helped me to do this, because otherwise I would have been totally alone and unable to do it, basically. And the last thing that therapy helped me to do was trust myself. I now know that I can get better. I now know that I'm in control. If I hadn't been for therapy, then I would have kept thinking that I'm stuck inside my head and everything that happens in my head must be real and true and awful. But now with therapy, it's helped me to gain perspective. It's helped me to challenge my thoughts, to question my thoughts, to let my thoughts go. It's helped me to understand my illness and the warning signs, all of those things. If it hadn't have done those things, then I wouldn't have been able to have the tools to do it myself. Because basically in England, the therapy that we go for is nearly always CBT therapy, if it's through the NHS, and that therapy is basically teaching you to look after yourself. Because at the end of the day, you can't be in therapy forever. I mean, unless you pay for it, you can't be in therapy forever. So they need to help you, to give you the tools to look after yourself. And so now I have those tools. I know, even if I don't have the exact way that they did it then, I have my own way now. They helped me to trust myself to get better. And I would never have wrote the book that I wrote in 2017 if I hadn't have been for therapy. I would never have been in the mental health community. I would never be doing these videos. I never would have been doing my blog if it hadn't been for therapy. It's because they have helped me to help myself, which means that I can now, through helping myself, help others, because I'm at like a different level. I think I'm a lot better now, and so I can help you guys, and that's what I always intend to do. A therapist is impartial. They're not there to save you. They're not there to rescue you. They don't know you on a personal level. So they're just taking what you say and using it for information to help you to get better. And I think that's really important. And that's why therapists can help us so much, because like when you go to your family, they instinctively just want to help you, or they get really worried about what you've said, and instead of helping you help yourself, they kind of just like, oh, don't think that, oh, that's awful, don't say that. And that's not what you need to get better. If you have a family member that is helpful in a different kind of way, then great, but if you can reach out to a therapist, please do. So to wrap up quickly, if you go to a therapist, you will get life-changing help and advice, starting that you get a good one. I don't regret going. It has really helped me to have tools and tricks to help me to be better and show up better with my anxiety and depression and any low moods, basically. I just want to share a quote from Jamelia Jamil, who is the actress from The Good Place, and also she's a radio presenter here in the UK. She said, "It is not a sign that there is anything wrong with you. It is the surest sign that there will not be anything wrong with you going forwards. It's really important to get this toxicity out of you. That's the only elimination diet worth doing," a psychological one. I love that quote. I really love how she advocates for therapy and takes away the stigma, because I know that there is a stigma and a lot of people think that it's weakness. It is not. You think that something's wrong with you, there's not. It's just basically getting help to help yourself, and that is what we do every day anyway. Why not go to a professional who will help you to do it better and cleaner and healthier, right? It just makes sense. So please take this away and use it. And if you have been considering therapy, or your doctor has suggested that you go for therapy, then I encourage that you do. Even if you just give it a try, it doesn't work for everybody, I understand that, but giving it a try will help you to know for sure, and that's the important part, right? So take care, guys, and I hope that I helped. Bye.